You want to know what makes the end of Spy Family Season 1 easy to accept? Last week, during Jump Fest or whatever they call that, they ended up confirming that not only are we getting that Season 2, which was all but a given, the show's way too popular not to continue, the fact of the matter was they confirmed an anime original movie alongside it. And if there's ever been a show that has the most potential, I think, for original content, Spy Family's the perfect show to do that. Because just think of some of the simplistic episodes that we've seen over these 25 episodes. The penguin Uten. Utens in general are just, you can make any of them. You can go to an amusement park. You can go to an aquarium. You can go wrestle a damn tiger. You can do whatever you want because the family dynamics, they sort of write themselves. And you can easily write spy, assassin shenanigans with that. So I think the more I think about it, because there is enough material that they could have easily done a couple more cours before catching up. The issue is that when manga take a bit to release, you risk the issue of catching up and then eventually you never get more. But if they go the route that I think they are, where they're going to do some movies, some one cours here and there, you honestly, in theory, would never catch up, but still be able to produce that Spy Family greatness that is topping TV broadcast charts, that's topping streaming numbers, and honestly, as someone who's been hyping up this show for 25 episodes now, the more Spy Family you give me, the happier I'll be, and I'm sure I'm not alone feeling that. Now, I do got a full live reaction to episode 25 on the Patreon, so consider checking that out if you so wish, but let's talk about it, because as great of the news as it is to know that we're getting more next year, no, don't even have to wait a couple of years. At the very least, I mean, sure, movies, when they release, we do have to wait a bit longer than Japan. But 2023 is the slate that they're saying for these projects, which is pretty early, so that kind of leads me to believe that it'll be a one core plus a movie, but we'll see. But in terms of episode 25 leaving us off for at least a year, was it a good stopping point? I would argue yes. As someone who considers like some of my favorite episodes of all times, they typically relate to sometimes just two characters sitting around a table or standing in one location talking. I can think of a ReZero episode where a couple of characters are literally just talking the entire episode. There's this one Walking Dead episode where two people just talk for the entire episode. I love it when characters, they can make for such intense scenes just with what they're saying. You don't need explosions in the background, you don't need jokes to be cracked. And for having Lloyd finally have a conversation with Damien's father, and for it to just be as intense, as nerve-wracking, but honestly as horrifying as it was the perfect stopping point. Because while he didn't get exactly where he needed to go, the intro of this episode says it all. Like, he'll essentially have one shot to do this, so his best plan is to meet him as Lloyd, not as someone who's trying to manipulate with a false appearance because it would just blow up in his face. And to at the very least have his name in his mind, that's enough for today. And this is going to be a very long con game, right? It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and unfortunately for Damien, it seems like the plan is most likely going to be to get Damien and his father closer and closer, and it's going to hurt him all the more when Lloyd most certainly takes out his father. But either way, the fact that it was just such a intense scene because Lloyd, bubbly, nice dad, hey, I'm sorry my daughter's a horrible person punching you in the face and causing you a ruckus, but don't worry, she actually loves talking about you. Insert lies here, but the fact that Damien already had a crush on Anya to begin with and Lloyd making up these lies, it's just making the crush happen stronger and stronger. But the fact of the matter was, we get like, this is the most of Damien's father we've ever seen, and this man creeps me the hell out. There's something about his eyes. Like, there's a couple of scenes in this episode where he has his eyes closed and he looks like a genuine nice guy. But almost 99% of the time, I would say, he just creeps me the hell out. It just, honestly, the best way I can sum up my feelings is that he feels like if aliens came from outer space, they observed humanity, they went through our records, they crafted an alien body to make it look like a human, and then they threw it on Earth and no one batted an eye, even though a blind man can see that just don't look right. I mean, he has scars all across his head, his eyes are always just round and open like a raccoon, but just the man doesn't blink and he just goes into your soul and it's creepy as hell. I mean, I'm just waiting for the punchline for him to be an actual decent guy, and I'm an asshole for doing this, but there is something just unnerving about him, and the fact that Lloyd is just like constantly just in his head, obviously he's not saying it out loud, just calling out the BS from this guy, just, it was unnerving, but I have to hand it to Lloyd, man, for navigating that minefield, because not only did he propel the father-son's relationship to be a bit better than it was, he also was able to, at the very least, get a foot forward, so over time he'll be able to get the job done, and take care of some pretty shady business. The thing though is that the more I watch a Spy Family, the more I feel for Damian as a character. Never thought I'd say that. Similar to Becky, right? Becky and Damian are just two types of characters you normally don't like in these shows, but they both have transformed into such an interesting character that in the case of Damian, I just feel bad. Like, his kind of hostile, cold demeanor at school, it's no wonder. I mean, the kid has a shitty family life. It's, you know, depending on how you feel personally, that's how you're going to treat people when they interact with you. And it's no surprise that he treats a lot of people like garbage because he's treated like garbage. But the thing is that the more you see of him interact with Anya, the more you can see how much of a positive influence Anya has on him, despite Anya being a bit of a troll and a stalker, which honestly, if Becky calls you a stalker and you can agree with Becky, you know you might have some issues here. But the fact of the matter is, he always is blushing around Anya. He's always yelling and freaking out, but at the same time, the only time Damian truly feels happy is when he's yelling at Anya, because he legit enjoys her company, whether he can admit to it or not. And that's what I really like about the whole dynamic. While you know there's going to be pain on the horizon if this mission does come to an end, I mean, either Anya's losing her dad or Damian's losing his. And if they do build it up where Damian and the dad start getting more close, it's going to be painful to see what's going to happen. And if we're going to get a, situation where Damian then in return starts resenting Lloyd if he finds out the truth, like, there's a lot of ways you can write it, but at the very least, as it stands, is it depression just yet? No, it's actually a pretty nice stopping point that gets the momentum moving on the main plot threads while just keeping the family ties the main crutch of the series. I think Spy Family is an absolute masterpiece. It's 25 episodes of pure bliss, excitement, animation, action, just everything in between. Anya is the best walking meme imaginable, but as I've said and pretty much anyone with eyes has said, Anya is the glue that keeps the show together, but all of them have their own interesting quirks and ideas that add to the show rather than being a subtract, and I'm just excited to see what they do. Like I said, I think there is a ton of potential for original content while also still adapting and staying true to the source material. And I mean, you can deliver me 100 movies of original content and I'm probably going to be right there watching with a grin on my face. But I'm excited to see the canon stuff, the manga continue to be adapted in this beautiful way, while also the new fun ideas that we all can come up with in our head of situations with Anya, Yor, Lloyd, Bond, all these amazing characters. Hell, give me a full movie of just Frankie trying to get a date. I'd watch that too, but you get my point. What you're feeling either about this last episode or the show as a whole, what are you hoping to see with the movie in season 2? Do let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Now, like I mentioned, there's a full live reaction to today's episode available on the Patreon. While you're there, you can also get video shoutouts like a few are about to get here. So we got Kryto, Marianne James E. Pasada, and Coconut Gang. So I appreciate the support, everyone, and please take care and have a good one.